How's the royal family? I pray that everyone is doing well. Well, my royal family, y'all know I got to speak on Kamala Harris. You know, I'm in Kamala Harris country. So, there ain't no way I was going to let your ass slide. You know, I'm going to be a little greasy today, because they going to be greasy eventually. So I might as well bring out the grease. Well, one thing for sure, Kamala doesn't consider herself a black woman. She's a American. She's truly an American. And so we're going to watch some videos. I'm going to read a little bit of this article that y'all going to have to read the rest by yourself. I got to pick out the juicy parts. Kamala, ooh, girl. Ooh, girlfriend, you shrewd. Ooh, you shrewd. I'm just as shrewd as you. We come from the same neck of the woods.
President of the United States.
Senator Kamala Harris announcing her presidential campaign's core principles on Martin Luther King Day.
Truth, justice, decency, equality, freedom, democracy. These aren't just words. They're the values we as Americans cherish. And they're all on the line now. I intend to fight for truth and transparency and trust. I intend to fight.
California's junior senator is notable both in biography
I did.
and her 2-year tenure in the Senate. Supporters hail Harris's rapid-fire questioning in the Senate from Supreme Court nominees.
Can you think of any laws that give the government the power to make decisions about the male body?
I'm not thinking of any right now, Senator.
To Justice Department officials.
He has the
Yes or no, sir?
He has the full independence that is authorized by those regulations. And
Are
Senator,
you
as I
willing to
said,
do as has been done
Would the
before?
senator suspend?
Making more than one of them squirm.
I'm not able to be rushed this fast. It makes me nervous.
A lot of the work I've done has been inspired.
The native of Oakland says she embodies everything California stands for and what the president is against. She is the daughter of immigrants, a father from Jamaica and a mother from southern India, both active in the civil rights era.
So it was about fighting for justice. It was about fighting to make sure that all people had a say in their future.
Harris graduated from Howard University, returning to Oakland to become a prosecutor. As a San Francisco district attorney, Harris crafted innovative programs to reform the criminal justice system at a time when other prosecutors were taking a tough-on-crime approach. And despite political pressure from her own party, she refused to seek the death penalty against the killer of a police officer, sticking to a core campaign pledge and personal belief.
Humbled to be chosen to be the next Attorney General of the state of California.
But she would defend the death penalty as California's first black woman Attorney General, still personally opposed, but upholding state law, coming under fire from activists.
I now declare you spouses for life.
Oh,
When the Supreme
nasty.
Court allowed marriage
that's
equality
nasty.
to stand
Oh,
in
damn.
California, she officiated the first legal same-sex marriages in 2013.
Any day that justice is delayed, I would suggest justice is denied.
All part of her pledge to be a progressive prosecutor.
It is a false choice to suggest that one is either in favor of the Second Amendment or in favor of reasonable gun safety rules. We can be both.
That history is both an asset and an opening for attack.
We are so brave and we are so...
A question that may follow her to the campaign as it did on her book tour. Is it possible to be both a top cop and a reformer for progressives?
What do you say to those who hear that and read that and still say, like, you're anti-police?
Well, it's just not true.
I mean, I had to ask.
That's why I say we gotta talk truth. It's just not true. It's not true. It's not true, period.
All right, all right. They gonna dig in your ass, and I'm gonna stay in your ass, too, as well, with your shrewd ass. Girlfriend. Well, it's time I'm gonna bring the slime later, Royal Family, because I'm just being real petty. I just feel like being petty. I feel like being petty today, so I'm gonna be petty. But right now we're gonna get into some stuff. So Kamala Harris was not a progressive prosecutor. The senator was often on the wrong side of history when she served as California's Attorney General. So this article I dug in and I read, and it's awfully long, and it was some shit that happened up here that made many of us feel some kind of way. So check this out. Time after time, when progressive urged to embrace criminal justice reform as a district attorney, then the state attorney general, Miss Harris, opposed them or stayed silent. Most troubling, Miss Harris fought tooth and nail to uphold wrongful convictions that have been secured through official misconduct that included evidence tampering, a false testimony, and the suppression of crucial information by prosecutors. You know, prosecutors do that shit. I still, I don't like it, and many of us don't like it, how they can suppress shit. Consider her record as San Francisco District Attorney 2004, 2011. Ms. Harris was criticized in 2010 for withholding information about a police laboratory technician who had been accused initially of sabotaging her work, stealing drugs from the lab. After a memo surfacing showing that Ms. Harris' deputies knew about the technician's wrongdoings, recently convicted, but failed to alert defense lawyers, a judge condemned Ms. Harris' indifference to the systematic violations of the defendant's constitutional rights. Ms. Harris contested the ruling by arguing that the judge, whose husband was a defense attorney, had spoken publicly about the importance of disclosing evidence, had a conflict of interest. Ms. Harris lost more than 600 cases handled by the corrupt technician were dismissed. So see, old girl, it was this old white chick, you know, she had a drug problem, and she was in there, maybe she was high, and some racism was mixed in it, and the shit got real nasty. Ooh, real nasty. That wasn't a good look, and they're gonna throw that shit up in your face, because, you know, people's life was on the line, and old girl in there, you know, dibbling and dabbling and doing what she do. Her ass is still locked up, but you know they're gonna give her a slap on the wrist too as well. So they're gonna bring that up. Then they're gonna bring up this other case, and there's so many. So you know that's why I had to pick and prod through this. Where is this other one? This one was this case was about this young lady who George Grage, an electrician with no criminal record who was charged in '99 with sexually abusing his stepdaughter, who reported the allegations years later. The case largely hinged on stepdaughter's testimony, and Mr. Grage was convicted. Afterward, the judge discovered that the prosecutor had unlawfully held back potentially exculpatory evidence. I know I didn't jack that word up. Evidence, including medical records, indicating that the stepdaughter had been repeatedly untruthful with law enforcement. Her mother even described her as a pathological liar who lives her lies. So she lives her lies. And to make the short of it, because I'm not going to read all of it, Kamala was all caught up in that shit too. And they say that this is a shame because the state top prosecutor has the power. And she does. She has the power to make wrongs right. And She didn't do it. She didn't do it. So she has a history. When y'all go through here, she has a history of turning her eye. So, but if Kamala wants people who care about dismantling mass incarceration, correcting miscarriages of justice to vote for her, she needs to radically break from her past. How do you break from your past? Because I'm going to bring up your past. A good first step would be to apologize for the wrongly convicted people she has fought to keep in prison, to do what she can to make sure they get justice. She should start with George Gage. That's the best I can pronounce his name. J with a G, with a G, with a G. So I'm going to put that in there, family, because it's a lot. And I was just picking and prodding. And now I feel like being a little grimy. So, Kamala, you straight. Oh, girl. Oh, let me just get into it. So back in the day, when Kamala was in her 30s, and Willie Brown, I think he was in his 60s, they was knocking boots, and he was still married. But I mean, this ain't no, old Willie Brown, old Pimp Willie Brown. He does what he do. He does what he do. Thank you for the jobs, Willie Brown. You kept a sister working. So, I'm kind of hooked up, just a little taste. But, thank you for the jobs. You kept a sister working. I spoke on your behalf somewhat. I'm going to thank for the jobs, but not for the fuckery. So, Kamala, she was doing her thuck thistle. And check this out. Now, this picture gets me. This is the picture that gets me. Kamala Harris, old sugar daddy, tells them stop bashing Trump. And the look in her body is like, oh, I screwed this old motherfucker. I'm wrong. Yes, you did, girlfriend. Yes, you pulled down your panty drawers and got real busy. I know I'm being greasy today. I can't help it. But I can see in her body language she don't want to see his ass. Look at it. Whoa, girlfriend. Let's see. Look what they got right here. They said when she was 29. Oh, you was 29. Ooh, like no 60-year-old man. Ooh, at that age? Oh, no. I gotta have somebody with a strong back. I'm being grimy. Oh, I'm being grimy. I gots to be, because that's how I feel today. Kamala, you don't like looking at that old joker, huh? Girl, you crazy. Anyway, so my royal family, let me contain myself, and we're going to go on to the next video, because I'm doing the most.
Obviously wanted this. She's ready to step in and do it. An African-American woman, what makes her different from the rest?
Well, I think that her team really feels that her experience as a prosecutor, as someone who really drilled these Trump nominees, from Brett Kavanaugh to John Kelly, is someone that would come at the race with a different background, also being of mixed race heritage. She really feels that she can better represent the Democratic Party and the country in the White House. And she's obviously hoping here not just to draw African Americans to her campaign, but also Latinos, because she has worked very hard on the immigration issue, particularly on DACA. And we've got all these states early in the calendar, like Nevada, for example, her neighboring state, and California, which is actually going to be mailing out ballots on the same day that Iowans caucus. So there's a lot of opportunity here.
Proof if you're from a big state, especially the biggest state, it's good to have friends back home. Those were changes made with the Harris candidacy in mind, California moving up. You mentioned the prosecutor role. It is a plus. Will it be a minus in the primaries? That's one of the interesting questions. She writes this in her book that she used to introduce her candidacy. You can want the police to stop crime in your neighborhood, also want them to stop using excessive force. You can want them to hunt down a killer on your streets, and also want them to stop using racial profiling. You can believe in the need for consequence and accountability, especially for serious criminals, but also oppose unjust incarceration. I believed it was essential to weave all these varied stands together at a time when President Trump just signed criminal justice reform. The Black Lives Matter movement is right behind us in the 2018 campaign and will be with us through 2020. Can she strike that balance, I guess is the question.
She's been answering these questions, though, ever since she decided to become a prosecutor, and really faced some heat within her family where family members and family friends were saying, how can you possibly be part of a system that disproportionately incarcerates Black and brown men? And she tried early in her career to really start working on reforms from the inside, and that's the way that she answers the question. But as we've seen over the past week, with one interruption at her San Francisco event where a woman shouted, "What about Black people, Kamala?" And then also a very pointed op-ed piece in the New York Times. This criminal justice record for her is going to be a real double-edged sword.
Can a Democrat run against her? A Democrat running against her say she's too tough on crime or too insensitive on crime? What's the way?
I think the kind of criticisms you would hear were sort of some of the criticisms that came out around Hillary and Bill Clinton and the crime bill in her 2016 run, where you see, Kamala Harris's record is much more recent, but many in the criminal justice and social justice communities do see some black marks on her record, punitive actions or policies that she pursued while in that office. But it is an interesting balance because you obviously do have Democrats wanting a certain type of law and order. They want accountability for Trump and his administration, and that's what's so satisfying to them about those committee hearings where she grills people, where she's relentless, where she takes people down. That's the type of prosecutor that Democrats may be looking for. The question is, on these policy questions, does she have a better answer for those? Because it is somewhat glossed over in the book where she just makes it sound like those things can just sort of effortlessly get along.
And we don't know where she's going to end up on the wide spectrum of Democrats that are either have thrown their hats into this ring or contemplating. Is she going to be, she's a little left of center from someone like Kirsten Gillibrand, who at the beginning of her career really was sort of a moderate voice. Now a little bit less so, but she's not all the way left like someone like an Elizabeth Warren, who has spent her career going after Wall Street. We'll have to see where that settles out as she ramps up this rollout.
And it's a great point, and we have no idea. We have no idea how many. We have no idea what Democratic voters want. What do they want? And that's how you pick who you want, by deciding what you want.
All right, that's the end of that. That's the end of that. Let's take that down. I don't need no pop-ups. Girlfriend. So, they're going to scrutinize your record. I'm going to drag you. But, Kamala, explain this to me. Oh, boy. This your husband. This who you knocking boots with, huh? They going to throw that in your face, too. Ooh, girlfriend. Really? Really, Kamala? Really? So we will see how you do in this journey. We will really see because, black folks ain't feeling you. They ain't feeling you at all. Mr. Santana was, my husband was talking about, he black. He just got that fucked up last name. So don't come over here with that shit. We're not feeling you, Kamala, really. You're trying to pull one of them Obama tricks. You just do a little this and a little that, and then you run in there and you're going to do this and that. Now, we know Trump is greasy and grimy, but Trump is doing his thug thistle. He exposing America. We want America to continue to be exposed. We want to go home, Kamala. And you might subject to hold some shit up. That ain't an option. Babylon must fall. Oh, it must fall. American. Because you ain't considering yourself a sister and, and all that. So, those prophecies is going to continue to play out, Kamala. And so you and old boy do what you and old boy do. All right? And I ain't lost sight of this shit. This is some funny shit. Because I can see it all in your body language. Y'all was knocking boots. Girl. 29. 60. Ooh, nasty. So anyway, my royal family, I had to put a little bit of humor in it. I told you I'm feeling some kind of way today. So anyway, my royal family, render your voice with your beautiful divine words. And as always, my royal family, I thank you for your love. I thank you for your support. And with that said, I say... nasty. Oh, girl.